Hi everyone, it's Dina Proctor, life coach, creator of 3 by 3 Meditation, and author of the best-selling book Madly Chasing Peace: How I Went from Hell to Happy in 9 Minutes a Day. Today's topic that we're going to talk about is the idea of forgiveness and acceptance. This is a huge one that I have for myself when I was first learning and navigating these concepts and figuring out my own healing and my own relationship transformations, and also for a lot of people that I've been encountering lately. It just seems to be something that's prevalent. I wanted to give it a little bit of attention. What I know about forgiveness, in my experience, in my opinion, forgiveness doesn't have anything to do with what the other person did. It's all about how we feel about what happened and what's going on. For example, if someone has wronged you or stolen from you or even hurt you physically in some way, that event has happened in the past, and there's nothing we can do about the past. It doesn't make it right, and it doesn't mean that we don't need to pursue, sometimes you need to pursue, legal or whatever type of consequences and get compensated for things, whatever. Setting that to the side, doing what you need to do in that arena, coming back to just the emotional effect of feeling like we've been hurt or wronged or negatively affected by a circumstance or a person outside of ourselves. Now, in the present moment, that event is in the past, but if it still holds us captive, because every time we think about it, we have an emotional reaction to it. We get very upset by it. We almost feel like we can't move forward. There's an example of a woman that I met a few weeks ago. He's a very shining example of what forgiveness is all about. She's a singer and a poet and a songwriter, and she had been hit by a drunk driver while she was driving her car one day several years ago. And when she went to the hospital and kind of woke up and was getting the download from her doctor about what was going on with her body, he told her, I don't think you're ever going to be able to walk again. The impact of that crash has affected your legs and nerves and spine in such a way that you should just get into acceptance that you probably won't ever be able to walk again. And was really incensed by this. This was angry to her. She was a victim of this crash. She didn't ask for this. She didn't necessarily feel like she had drawn it into her experience, and she was very angry that this had happened and that this was someone else's fault, and it was affecting her ability to maneuver around comfortably in her own body. So while she was feeling like that, she didn't make any progress at all. She was thinking, I'm never going to be able to walk again, and so it didn't even occur to her to try and walk again, because she was so consumed with anger, and really, most people would agree, justified anger of what had happened. And that was where her mindset was. And after a few months of this and kind of being, wheelchair and bedridden, it occurred to her that she could either give the power of, her personal empowerment over to the past and say, okay, I give up. That's my story. I'm never going to be able to walk again, and it's that guy's fault, and there's nothing that can be done. What she decided was she didn't want to live that reality anymore. That wasn't feeling good to her. It no longer felt good to get angry about it, because there's nothing she could do about it. So she came to a place of just acceptance of the circumstance, just absolute acceptance. And of course, there were still other things and getting compensation or whatever she needed to do. That was one part that was being taken care of. But where she got inside of herself into absolute acceptance of, this happened, it's in the past, it's not in my control to be able to change it, but I do have power over how I choose to look at this, how I choose to think about this. And I believe that I actually have, this was her thinking, I actually believe I have more power over my body's ability to walk than anybody outside me might be able to see. And so she did the work of coming into that acceptance and coming into really forgiving and letting go of that, of thinking of that event and the way that her body was, just letting go of it having any control over the way that she had her thought patterns. Even though, yes, it had happened, she chose to kind of take her attention away from that past event and put it toward what might be possible in the future. And so she decided to start working with a physical therapist and see what was possible with her body. And after several months, it became really apparent that she was able to repair, the healing energy of her body repaired those nerve endings. And after, several months or a year, however long it was, she found herself that she was able to walk again. And so the lesson in this about forgiveness is that when we are all consumed and an event or a past circumstance has us, you know, all consumed by its energy. And even if it is true and it did happen, that doesn't mean that we have to stay stuck in that mentality. We do what we need to do to take care of it and repair what we need to or get compensated. And then we look towards, I want to be emotionally free from this. I want to be not being a doormat, not saying this didn't happen, not being in denial, but saying, I'd rather withdraw my attention from that event in the past and put it towards what's possible in the future. So forgiveness and letting go of a past event needing to be a trigger is not about the other person getting let off the hook. It's about finding our own personal freedom. Because if we're letting someone else or a past circumstance control us and control the belief that we have about our mind, our bodies and our minds and our spiritual connection and being able to move forward with our lives, we're stuck. We don't have any power until we're able to let that go and really forgive. And so whenever we think about that, you've fully forgiven when the old trigger is introduced to your mind, maybe that thought comes to mind and you realize, that used to really trigger me, and now I just kind of feel at peace. It's something that happened in the past, but it doesn't have to have anything to do with where I'm going in the future. So I'm able to release that, and I'm able to move forward. And a lot of times, especially if it was a particularly traumatic event, I know I did not do this without help. I had mentors all around me, groups, and people to support me. So I highly recommend that for you too, to have a mentor or a doctor or a therapist or someone in your life to be able to walk you through and hold the light for you to be able to release what might be holding you in the past, working through those emotions, letting go of it, and being able to put your attention towards where you are going and what you do want to create for your future. So I hope that this was really helpful for you. It's my joy to share these insights here, and I really hope that they're resonating. So thanks so much for tuning in, and I look forward to catching you again next time.